World Football with Sean Carter-Villis.
Huddersfield Town beat Sheffield Wednesday on penalties to reach the Championship playoff final. Here's BBC Sport with more details.
But Sheffield Wednesday have to score this one to send it into sudden death in the shootout. Fernando Forestieri has to score again here for Sheffield Wednesday. They can't afford to miss. 4-3 down. Up he comes. It's saved by Danny Ward. And the dream goes on for Huddersfield Town. They are through to the playoff final at Wembley. What an extraordinary story it is for the team from West Yorkshire, one of the favourites for relegation. They knock out their Yorkshire rival Sheffield Wednesday on penalties. It is 4-3. Danny Ward, the goalkeeper on loan from Liverpool, is the hero for Huddersfield Town, who sprint the length of the pitch down to the other end towards their jubilant supporters. It will be Huddersfield Town against Reading in the playoff final, the richest match in history for a place in the Premier League. What a story for David Wagner. He chose two of his Germans and they did indeed prevail in the shootout.
Yeah, that's right. And experienced player, one who's played regular, one who plays all the time. You'd expect him to score from the penalty spot. Forestieri to put Sheffield Wednesday back in the game trail. But I think, and we talked about it before the penalty shootout, talking to George, that it's about goalkeepers. Goalkeepers guessing, goalkeepers producing. They've got nothing to lose. And when you looked in that goal, Danny Ward looked huge and massive and has made vital saves, not just throughout the game but in this penalty shootout to get them to Wembley. And very good to see Wagner subdued celebrations, very humble, and get ready for Wembley.
The Football Update with Sean Carter-Villis. World Football with Sean Carter-Villis.
The race for the final two Champions League slots will go down to the final day of the season, following wins for Manchester City and Arsenal on Tuesday night. Here's BBC Sport with more details.
Arsenal's win over Sunderland tonight means the race for Champions League qualification will go to the final day. Arsene Wenger's side are a point behind Liverpool and 3 behind Manchester City, who beat West Brom 3-1 at the Etihad tonight in Pablo Zabaletta's final home game. Let's hear from the Arsenal boss speaking to Alistair Bruce-Ball.
Arsene, in the end, patience paid off tonight.
Yeah, we had, I think, plenty of shots on goal, and but we need to be patient. Our keeper kept them in the game. We missed some good chances, and we were a bit frustrated at half-time. It was important not to lose our nerves, and to keep composure, what we did. And in the last 20 minutes, every attack could have been finished by a goal. So we play every 3 days, we played Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday. So it took us a while to get in the rhythm of the game.
I mean, funny things can happen on the final day, Arsene. You've got into that spot on the final day before, haven't you?
Many times. And but as well, I believe that you could see again tonight, Sunderland did fight, they wasted time, they did fight like mad for every single goal. That's what you want in the Premier League. That was always the case, and that's just what we want from every team.
That's Arsene Wenger with Alistair Bruce-Ball. Pablo Zabaleta looks extremely emotional after 9 very successful years here, giving an interview out on the pitch to Manchester City's local TV station. Mark, give us an idea. You had so many good years at Liverpool. When you do have to leave, what is it like? Is it very difficult to move on?
Yeah. In his position, obviously, he's going to go on and play for somebody else. I think what is very unusual, Mark, 10 years here, Zabaleta?
9 years, yeah.
9 years, sorry, for Zabaleta. Very, very unusual for a player that's come in from South America to stay at one club for 9 years. And by all accounts and stories, he's very much part of Manchester. I think, didn't say straight away, go and play pool in the pub in Didsbury, etc, etc. So
got involved in the community
in the community, culture, etc. His English is extremely good.
The Football Update with Sean Carter-Villis. World Football with Sean Carter-Villis.
Chelsea celebrated their Premier League title triumph with a hard-earned 4-3 victory over Watford in a nil-tempered but thrilling encounter at Stamford Bridge. Here's BBC Sport with more details.
Final whistle has gone at Stamford Bridge. The fireworks are firing out of the roof. John Murray.
Fireworks going off just above our heads. And now we've got silver and blue ticker tape coming down from the rooftops as well, pouring down, streaming down on the pitch surface. We've got blue as the colour, and the champions, the returning champions to Stamford Bridge, have come back with a victory by 4 goals to 3. And what an entertaining game it was, Pat Nevin.
Yeah, a really enjoyable game. A lot of good football played by both sides, mostly by Chelsea, creating most of the chances. There were 1 or 2 moves that were Barcelona-esque by Chelsea. Certainly going forward they'll look pretty impressive. Less so defending. I don't think Begovic had a save to make in the entirety of the match. However, Watford managed to score 3 goals, and let's applaud Watford for making a real game of it, fighting, battling, chasing. Quality-wise they were a long way behind, but they didn't give up, and so much so that they got a man sent off at the end. They were upset. They thought they were being basically taken for a ride slightly by Pedro, and they thought, forget that, we want a little bit more respect, and we demand it. It's not the best way to demand it by kicking somebody, but it's all secondary now. That's the thing about the Premier League. People care a little bit. Watford cared tonight, Chelsea have cared all season, and they stand there enjoying it in the middle of the park. I think everyone would agree now deserve the champions.
Yeah, unfortunately for Watford, it's their 5th defeat in a row, but they played their part tonight. Chelsea, their goals coming through John Terry, maybe he's last in a Chelsea shirt, Azpilicueta, Batshuayi and Fabregas. Watford's goals from Capoue, Janmaat, Okaka and Sebastian Prödl sent off in added time at the end of the game. So for Chelsea, this victory, they're 29th in the Premier League this season, 6 in a row in all competitions, and the champions are now walking all over the pitch, through all of that silver and blue ticker tape, and applauding all of the stands here at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 4-3 winners against Watford here tonight.
The Football Update with Sean Carter-Villis. World Football with Sean Carter-Villis.
Goals from Victor Wanyama and Harry Kane earned Tottenham a 2-1 victory over Manchester United in their final game at White Hart Lane. Here's BBC Sport with more details.
And it's cleared upfield, but there is the final whistle of the final game at White Hart Lane, and appropriately, with all due respect to Manchester United, it's finished with a win for Tottenham Hotspur. Personally, thank you White Hart Lane for some great memories. Steve.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. The right result, just about deserved it in the end. He had the majority of the play, majority of chances. Nervy finish, but they saw it out in the end, and probably what you'd have wanted, to see them leave here with the win and the history books and everything like that. Fantastic occasion, made absolutely special by the fans. Wonderful noise, brilliant day. It's all gone off exactly the way that they would have imagined.
Well, a lot of fans, possibly understandably, have come onto the pitch. I mean, this is their club, this is their stadium, and yeah, it's not approved of these days, but it's not a violent invasion. It's an invasion of celebration, and it's great.
Yeah, that's fine, isn't it?
Yeah, great scene here at White Hart Lane, because the fans just can't resist it. They've got these flags that we've been telling you about in their hands. There are smiles everywhere you look, and they are completely filling this White Hart Lane turf right now. There's a couple of fans down there I can see are picking blades of grass, putting them into a carrier bag. And interestingly, unlike Upton Park just over a year ago, they didn't make a thing over they didn't make a play over the tannoy of saying stay off the field. There's been none of that, has there, second half?
There must be 20,000 people on the pitch
already.
It doesn't look like there's an empty seat in the stand still. They must have sold 50,000 tickets for this game.
In other results, Hull have been relegated after losing 4-0 to Crystal Palace, and Liverpool thrashed West Ham 4-0 at the London Stadium.
The Football Update with Sean Carter-Villis. World Football with Sean Carter-Villis.
10-man Manchester United survived a huge late scare to edge past 10-man Celta Vigo 2-1 in aggregate and set up a Europa League final against Dutch giants Ajax, who themselves scraped through 5-4 in aggregate after losing 3-1 to Lyon. Here's BBC Sport with more details.
And the final whistle goes, and Manchester United have done it. They're in the final. They've made it to Stockholm, and Celta Vigo's players drop down. So many of them now with their hands on their heads. It was close. It was much closer. Much too close for comfort for Manchester United. But they've done it. They're there. They're in the final.
Well, that was the main thing for Mourinho. I think he set up the team over these two legs to not get beaten, frustrate Celta Vigo, catch them on the counter-attack, and his game plan worked. All right, Guidetti there, what a chance, last kick of the game, could have put them through, wasn't to be. But Man United march on to the final.
But really there with that final chance, Bongonda, I felt. I mean, he had the chance and he chose to cross. And now Jose Mourinho has appeared and is walking down the touchline. And just as he did when Anderlecht were here, Jose Mourinho is making a beeline down the touchline to the corner where the Celta Vigo supporters are, and he is applauding and applauding. And he continues to walk, and he's pointing at them now, Jose Mourinho, and he is saying that was a brilliant performance. And he's pointing at them again, nodding his head and saying well done to them. And quite right too, they've been brilliant tonight, the Celta Vigo supporters. But Manchester United are there. They're in a seventh European final. And for the first time, Manchester United will play for that trophy, that brilliant trophy that was the UEFA Cup and is now the Europa League trophy, which is here tonight. And they will play Ajax in Stockholm at the Friends Arena in Solna, the Solna area of Stockholm, on Wednesday, the 24th of May. And they'll be favourites against that exciting young Ajax team. And Wayne Rooney, who actually, even though he was on the field for only a few minutes, played a big role in seeing that out in the final seconds. He applauds the rest of Old Trafford. So the final score tonight in the second leg, Manchester United 1, Celta Vigo 1, 2-1 to United on aggregate.
The Football Update with Sean Carter-Villis. World Football with Sean Carter-Villis.
Wayne Rooney has said he wants to extend his 13-year Manchester United career beyond this summer, and the England captain was speaking at a press conference when he was asked about his future. Here's BBC Sport with more details.
Yeah, well, that is right. He did say that. What I would add to that as a proviso is that he did have to be pushed to say that. I'm not sure how much he actually wanted to come and speak to the media today, but once he was given the opportunity, there were several clear messages that he wanted to put forward. And he was inevitably asked, do you want to play for Manchester United next season? He said, I've been at this club for 13 years. He said that with a smile on his face. He said, of course I want to play football. Then he was asked, here? And his answer to that was, yes. The other messages were, he said, of course you want to play. I want to play every game. He said, when I called on, I do my best to help the team. And he said, but you have different periods in your career, different challenges. He said, I'd like to have played more, but this is how it's panned out this season at Manchester United. But also, as well as that, there was a really strong defence and backing for Jose Mourinho. He said, this club will be successful under Jose Mourinho. Rooney said, having seen the way that he works, he said, I'm convinced this club will be successful under Jose Mourinho. So that was the general thrust of what was said.
So in many ways, is this actually not a story because he had to be really cajoled into saying it?
He didn't volunteer it himself. He only said it when that follow-up question was, here? And he said yes.
There's a sort of wry smile on Tony Evans' face at the moment, which I'm guessing is there is no other way for Wayne Rooney to answer that question, or those two questions, or three questions, however many questions it took to get an answer out of him.
Yeah, he can't exactly say, I can't wait to get out of it, can he? That would be a very bad look. I mean, he wants to play, and the thing is about Wayne, he's very, very eager to get back on the pitch, and he doesn't think his career is over. If he's not part of Jose Mourinho's plans, he'll look elsewhere.
The Football Update with Sean Carter-Villis. World Football with Sean Carter-Villis.
Arsene Wenger is adamant there'll be no director of football at Arsenal while he is manager. Arsenal chief executive Ivan Gazidis is keen to appoint a senior figure to either work with Wenger or a new manager if the Frenchman leaves. That according to reports. Here's BBC Sport with more details, starting with Wenger.
Director of football, I don't know what it means. Is it somebody who stands on the road and directs play right and left? I don't understand. I never could understand what it means, director of football.
Because there's been talk about a restructuring at the club.
No, sorry, no. Look, I'm not prepared to talk about that. I think I'm manager of Arsenal Football Club, and as long as I'm manager of Arsenal Football Club, I will decide what happens on the technical front, and that's it.
And that's the most definitive of answer. And if you could see, which you may have done as well, the pictures of it as well, he couldn't have been firmer about that. Henry Winter, the chief football writer at the time. Henry, good evening to you. When you compare what Arsene Wenger said there about any change in a director of football to what Ivan Gazidis, the CEO, said just a few weeks ago about the fact that this poor run had been a catalyst for change, is this not a Wenger versus Gazidis for the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, very, very interesting. This, I mean, you know, there's so many elements to the Wenger debate at the moment, and this is the new one. I thought his comments about directors of football was pretty flippant. I mean, you know, a director of football is someone who stands in the middle of the road and directs players left or right. It's a little bit more sophisticated than that. If you look at an individual like Monchi, when he was at Sevilla, he helped develop Jose Antonio Reyes, who Wenger then went and spent a lot of money on. So a good technical director who works well with a sort of head coach, manager, I think it's a good operation. I mean, Arsenal never really had a technical director, sporting director of football, but they had an individual in David Dean who was very good working, obviously, with Wenger in going in and bringing in the sort of players that Wenger wanted in terms of Vieira and Thierry Henry, going and doing the deals. And since David Dean has left Arsenal, Wenger's really sort of lost his touch really in the recruitment world. So I think it's a little bit strange of Wenger to go down that route.
The Football Update with Sean Carter-Villis. World Football with Sean Carter-Villis.
Chelsea moved to within one win of the Premier League title and confirmed Middlesbrough's relegation with a consummate performance and an emphatic 3-0 victory at Stamford Bridge. Here's BBC Sport with more details.
And 3 goals is enough for Chelsea at Stamford Bridge tonight, as they beat Middlesbrough 3-0. And that confirms Middlesbrough's relegation. They will go down again at the end of this season. After just one season back up in the top flight, it's been a rather colourless season that Middlesbrough have endured in the Premier League, and they are down with 2 matches still to play. But for Chelsea, they are now 1 win away from regaining the Premier League title. It has been a comprehensive victory tonight. It could have been by a much wider margin, but 3-0 it is. Costa, Alonso and Matic, the goal scorers. Steve Claridge.
Well, I think everything just about went to order, didn't it, really? I mean, you come here and you're wondering how they're going to react and what sort of performance they're going to put in. Right from minute 1, they were brilliant. The crowd were up for it. Everybody seemed to be engaged tonight. Tonight, a real celebration, in all honesty. I think everybody realised now that, you know, that they are going to win the title, and they're just going to, from now on in, enjoy it for what it is, and that's exactly what they've done.
The Football Update with Sean Carter-Villis. World Football with Sean Carter-Villis.
Newcastle United clinched the championship title with victory over Barnsley after Brighton conceded the late equaliser at Aston Villa. Here's BBC Sport.
A huge roar as the announcer confirmed that full time from Villa Park. Newcastle win the title thanks to a 3-0 win over Barnsley with goals from Perez and Bemba and Gale. And the players in a huge huddle, all shaking hands, jumping all over each other. Rafa Benitez said before this game that there would either be a smile or a big smile because they'd already secured promotion. And I can tell you there is a massive smile on the face of Rafa Benitez. He surprised a lot of people when he decided to stay at Newcastle last summer and lead them in the Championship, and he now takes them into the Premier League as title winners. The black and white flags are waving away to my left, and Newcastle United will lift the Championship trophy as the platform is arranged in front of their fans here at St James's Park, pipping Brighton on the final day by a single point.
The Football Update with Sean Carter-Villis. World Football with Sean Carter-Villis.
Marcus Rashford's superb free kick gave Manchester United control of their Europa League semi-final against Celta Vigo. 1-0 final score. Here's BBC Sport with more details.
And Manchester United have done the job here tonight. 1-0 winners with that thrilling free kick from Marcus Rashford in the 67th minute. So the first leg of the semi-final is won by Manchester United here in the Balaidos Stadium, and they have a 1-0 lead to take back to Old Trafford a week tonight. Pat Nevin.
Yeah, and they can take this game to Old Trafford with magnificent confidence about them. Play for player, Manchester United are the better side by some considerable distance, and this is when they're playing Celta over here in Vigo. They scored 1 goal, they could have got maybe 2 or 3 goals, but that's been the story of Manchester United's season. But for Celta Vigo to go to Old Trafford against the Manchester United team that have got so much strength, power in various areas of their side, it is a lot to ask for them to overcome Manchester United. Said right at the beginning of the show tonight, Manchester United turn up with the right attitude and have the right fight. They'll be okay not only in the tie but in this tonight. Well, they did that. There's nothing wrong with the attitude, Manchester United tonight. Better side, good attitude, and they're halfway to a European final.
The players have to walk across the pitch to the far side. The dressing rooms are over there, and Marcus Rashford, for the record, is still hobbling as he leaves the field. So having scored the goal, having bounced back in the right way after everything that followed his dive in the match against Swansea at the weekend, it looks as though he'd be unlikely to be involved against Arsenal on Sunday. But a 1-0 win for Manchester United, and they were favourites before we came into this match tonight, now very clear favourites to make it through to the final in Stockholm in 3 weeks' time. The final score here in Spain, Celta Vigo 0, Manchester United 1.
The Football Update with Sean Carter-Villis. World Football with Sean Carter-Villis.
Juventus closed in on a second Champions League final in 3 seasons as Gonzalo Higuain struck twice to beat Monaco 2-0 in the semi-final first leg. Here's BBC Sport with more details.
Monaco 0, Juventus 2 Gonzalo Higuain goals, and Juve obviously now absolutely massive favourites to go through and probably play Real Madrid in the final. So impressed for Juve to be on the cusp of another Champions League final. When you consider the player turnaround they've had in that side, you know, we could talk about Buffon and the defence and how great they've been, but in midfield they've gone from Pirlo to Pogba through Vidal and now Pjanic. Up front they've had Morata and Tevez to now Dybala and Higuain. Max Allegri keeps changing things up and just keeps succeeding.
But they do keep spending. It's not as if they're finding hidden gems, are they? I mean, they are picking off their biggest rivals in Serie A in Napoli and Roma to bring in Higuain and Pjanic. Dybala may be slightly different from where they got him
well,
from.
They paid a lot of money for him
but
too.
They still paid a lot of money for it.
Yeah, well, they have spent a lot of money, but I think when you compare it to the teams we are comparing them against, you know, no team in the history of Italian football has won 6 straight titles. That is what Juventus are on the cusp of, well, not on the cusp of doing, they are going to go and do that, aren't they? So I think regardless of the fact that they spent money, we're comparing them to Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Real Madrid, and they haven't spent that much.
Did they shut Monaco down tonight?
Yeah, they did, and it was interesting because the early stages were really open, and I think Juventus maybe got a bit of a shock in the early stages, probably because we look at this Monaco attacking threat, and we've seen them against Manchester City and Borussia Dortmund. Those are 2 teams that I think probably went into those ties thinking, we know you've got a bit about you going forward, but we can outscore you, and they were proven wrong. So you thought Juventus might start very much squeezing the game and then kick on, but they didn't. You know, it was a really open match at first, and it could easily have been 2-0 to Monaco, not 2-0 to Juve, but once they got the advantage, they were always going to just shut up shop.
Meanwhile, Ajax moved to the brink of a first European final in 21 years by overwhelming Lyon 4-1 in the first leg of their Europa League semi-final.
The Football Update with Sean Carter-Villis. World Football with Sean Carter-Villis.
Cristiano Ronaldo scored another Champions League hat-trick as Real Madrid thrashed Atletico Madrid 3-0 in the semi-final first leg to close in on the third final in 4 years. Here's BBC Sport with more details.
There is the final whistle from Martin Atkinson. It's been the Cristiano show. Once again, the cream has risen to the top. It's another hat-trick for him. He got 3 goals against Atletico in La Liga in November. He has scored another hat-trick against the derby rivals tonight. And one team, Phil Neville, were simply too good this evening.
Oh, far too good, Real Madrid tonight. They totally outclassed Atletico Madrid straight from the first whistle. It could have been 2 or 3 at half-time. They did have some sensational footballers' performances tonight. Isco was brilliant, Toni Kroos, Modric, but the man of the moment, Cristiano Ronaldo, 3 goals on the biggest stage. He's won his team not just a leg, but I think he's put one foot into the final in Cardiff as well.
And a clean sheet tonight as well for Real Madrid. They only had 1 clean sheet in their last 16 matches in all competitions. This is a really, really important one. There is no away goal for Atletico Madrid, and they face now a monumental task to try and get back into this Champions League semi-final. The other semi between Juventus and Monaco tomorrow, but it looks already like Real Madrid are heading to another European Cup final. Midway through this semi, they've a 3-goal advantage, and all 3 goals, Mark Pugac, from you-know-who.
Everywhere you look when it comes to the statistics of Ronaldo, they're frankly ridiculous. He's scored 18 goals since the 5th of February. By the way, Sunderland have scored 2 in that time. He's scored 42 hat-tricks now for Real Madrid. Successive hat-tricks in Champions League knockout games after the 3 goals he scored against Bayern Munich. 103 in the Champions League, 13 in Champions League semi-finals, 10 for Real Madrid, 3 for Manchester United. 399 goals in 389 games for Real Madrid. Phil, it's always the pub question, Ronaldo or Messi. It's all a good bit of fun. There's no right and there's no wrong. It's I think the one thing we can say is they do push each other on, don't they?
Yes, they do. I mean, if you look back to the Clasico maybe two games ago, and it was Messi that got all the plaudits. He was the greatest. Tonight, Ronaldo's raised the bar again. They keep raising the bar. Every time I see Cristiano Ronaldo play, I'm amazed at his drive and his determination to keep wanting to be the best footballer in the world, and he keeps exceeding all limits. And tonight, wow, it was a wow performance from him.
The Football Update with Sean Carter-Villis. World Football with Sean Carter-Villis.
Emre Can scored one of the goals of the season as Liverpool beat a poor Watford 1-0 to capitalise on favourable results in the race for the Champions League. Here's BBC Sport with more details.
All over. Liverpool have got their win. A really ugly game, but a really brilliant goal from Emre Can to seal it. Adam Lallana walks onto the pitch and raises both fists in celebration. The goal came in added time at the end of the first half. Well worth seeing if you can catch it. A spectacular scissor kick from Can. Other than that, very forgettable, and very nearly conceded a shocker at the end. Liverpool there, Mark Schwartz.
Yeah, they're almost made to pay because of the lack of taking their opportunities throughout the game. Probably not defensively there, and another set play, which is a huge concern for Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp. Just the inability to defend them. They rode their luck, but in the end, the result is what matters, and they won 1-0. They did the job. They'll come away from it. People will forget about the chance at the end. People will forget about the performance overall. They'll look at this as a point of saying, you know what, 3 points, that almost secured us a position in the Champions League. That puts them it gives them an extra boost now with their remaining fixtures and in a great position.
Jurgen Klopp is all smiles. He definitely wouldn't have been had Prödel's shot gone in. 3 more wins and Liverpool definitely there. They might not even need that. They've won at Vicarage Road tonight thanks to Can's stunning goal. Watford 0, Liverpool 1.
The Football Update with Sean Carter-Villis.